Welcome back. We're now going to look at how we deal with the choosing your dinosaurs page. So there are a number of things that we have to do on this page, and the task list is on the side. So we're going to start by looking at the Pro. So the three things that we need to do is to create a drop-down list to allow the user to select their dinosaur from the data sheet, okay, which is the Dino Data sheet, which is this one, okay, that one there. The second thing is adding the information from the data sheet by looking at lookup formula. So what we're not going to do, we're not going to find the dinosaur that we want and then copy and paste the information across. We're going to use a function to do that for us. And I'll show you how to do the first of those columns, and then you can use the same skills then to do the other columns. And then the last thing is to calculate the budget used, the budget remaining, and the number of visitors per month by using formulas there as well. Okay. I'm going to show you some of these skills as well, but I'm not going to take you through creating the list using the numbers there, because you should be able to do that from your work on the drop-down list on the dinosaur column here. Okay, so let's start with the drop-down list. So the first thing that we're going to do, or at least the reason why we use a drop-down list, is because what we don't want to do is to start copying and pasting data from here. Okay, it's not efficient for us to do that. So on the column here it says add your dinosaurs into the cells below. The first one has been done for you, it hasn't because I've just deleted it. As a drop down list, you can drag it down to create a drop down list for the users. Okay, so what we're going to do, if I show you how to do the first one, okay, and then you can drag the formula down then. So what I'm going to do is to create a drop down list on this cell. So I'm going to go up to the data menu, and I'm going to come on to data validation, which is here. Okay. And what I'm going to do on my data validation is to allow a list, and then it's going to ask me what my source of my list is going to be. Okay. Now the source of my list is going to be my dinosaurs. So I'm going to click on the little arrow at the side. And now I'm going to click onto my Dino Data sheet, because now it's asking me where are the values you want to use in the list. So I'm going to go over to my Dino Data sheet, and I'm going to highlight my list like that, and then I'm going to click enter on the keyboard. Okay, and then you can see now that it's given me a reference to where my list is. Okay. So I'm going to click OK, and it takes me back. So now I can use the drop down list and I can select my dinosaurs from a list. Okay. Okay, so let's select the first one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the drop down list settings down into the next cells. Okay. So if you look, I'm going to zoom in. If you look at the bottom corner of the cell, you can see a little green square right here, and when I hover the mouse over it, you can see it changes from a white cross there to a small black cross. So if I click, hold and drag, what I'm doing is copying down that value, okay, into my other sheets. But now what I've got is a drop down on each cell. So let me just delete those values. So now I can drop the list down on the second cell, and I can select my next dinosaur, I can select another dinosaur, and so on. So that is how we create a drop down list on cells. Something else I want to show you about the drop down lists is you can use different values. So I'm going to show you how you can use different values, and this will help you when you come to do the extra activity for the budgets. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of the things on this cell. I don't want you to do this. Okay, I'm going to clear the validation on these cells. Okay. So in the same way, I can create a drop-down list using values that I type in. So let's go back on the data validation. I'm going to allow a list, but this time I'm not going to select the values. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type the values in. So let's say I wanted 3 names. So let's say Tony, comma, Ashley, comma, Steve. So I've got 3 different names there. Okay. So when I click OK now, I drop the list down. you can see I can select from Tony, Ashley or Steve. Alright, so the reason why I'm showing you that is because when we come over to this side, it says create a list of the following numbers. Okay, alright, so using the budget cell, so we're looking at here. So using what I've just shown you on this side, you can create your drop down list on here. Okay, right, so let's go back. What I've done here is used my skills to undo, which is Control and Z. Okay, so I've just undone my previous actions. So I'm going to select a few dinosaurs. Okay, so that'll do for now. Right, so you will select all of these. Okay, you will have dinosaurs in each one. And what we're going to do, what you would probably think you would do, is to copy and paste the values of this dinosaur for the cost from there. Okay, so there's the cost over here, and copy and paste it like this, copy and paste it into there. Okay, that's fine, but if we change this value, that value doesn't change. Okay, so that's not really an appropriate way to get those values in, so I'm going to get rid of that value. Underneath, you can see that there's a help thing, cell, and this is how you're going to do your formula. Okay, this is called a lookup, and what it does, it checks the value in this cell. It then goes to the lookup range, so it will find this value in that column. Okay, and then what it's going to do then is return the value when it finds the value here in the appropriate row from this column. Okay, so let me just show you by example how this works. So we're just going to start by typing equals lookup, and I'm going to open a bracket. Okay, so I'm following the structure is telling me down here, and it tells you as you're typing it up what it's looking for. So the lookup value is the value in the row for your drop down list. Okay, so I'm going to click in there. Okay, so that's my lookup value. My lookup vector, which is where I want to look for my my dinosaur, is over in my Procomarin. It's over in my Dino Data Sheet, and it's this column. Okay, so we're going to highlight that column. So it's going to look in that column for that value. Okay, when it finds it, comma, we're going to return the result from that row into the vector, result vector. So the result vector is the column I'm going to use to return my value, which is the cost in this case. So what it's going to do is going to look down this list until it finds the Ankylosaurus, and then it's going to come across to the cost column and it's going to return this value. Okay, so let's see if that works. So it does. Now if I change this dinosaur value, you can see that this value also changes automatically, because the Edmontosaurus, if I go back onto my Dino Data Sheet, Edmontosaurus is 990,000. Okay, so that's how that works. Before we go any further though, we can copy formulas down, but because we want to keep looking at the same column all of the time, we want to make sure that we lock or absolutely reference the cells. Okay, and what that means is if I copy this down, let's change that to the Ankylosaurus, and let's change this one to the Ankylosaurus as well, just so as I can demonstrate what I mean. And let's change this one to the Ankylosaurus, and let's change this one to the Ankylosaurus. Okay, so to copy this formula down, all I need to do is to hover the mouse over that little green square, click and drag. So when I release this now, I should see 3 or 4 values of 1,500. Well, I don't. Why don't I? That's the question. Right, so let's have a look at what's going on with the formula. So if I double click this so you can see the formula. So this formula is looking in B5, okay, which is where the Ankylosaurus value is. It's looking in the Dino Data Sheet from cell B4 to B24. Let's have a look where B4 to B24 is. There's B4 to B24. Okay. When it finds the value, go back onto the formula, it returns the value from Dino Data H4 to H24. So it returns this value, H4 to H24. Okay, that's fine. That's what we want. Why isn't it working then? What's going on when I come down to the next cell? Let's have a look. Okay, this time I'm looking in B6, which is right because that's where my value is. This time it's looking in Dino Data B5 to B25. Okay, let's go and have a look at that. B5 to B25. So we're actually now coming down. So it's looking for this Ankylosaurus, but it can't find it because it's not in the range. And that's because when you copy the formula down, it also moves the cell references down by 1. So what we want to do is to make sure that it stays looking at that range of cells. And there's a way in which we can do that, which I'm going to show you now before you copy your formulas. So where you've got your B4 to B24 up here, what you're going to do is to highlight those numbers, and you're going to press F4 on the keyboard. And what it does, you can see on the screen, it puts dollar symbols in front of the cell references. And what that does, that locks the cells. So it only looks at those cells when it's copied down. And we need to do the same on this one as well. So we're going to highlight those. We're going to press F4 to put that absolute cell referencing in, and press enter. So nothing changes there. But now when I copy my formula down, okay, you can see I'm referencing all the time and I'm getting the right values. So now I'm going to go back down and I'm going to select all of my dinosaurs that I want to use in my spreadsheet. Let's do the iguanodon. Let's scroll down, we'll do the Spinosaurus. I shall do the Megalosaurus. I shall do the, what should I do? Oviraptor, and I will do the Stegosaurus. Okay, so I've now got all of my dinosaurs listed. So what I've just done here, okay, you are now going to do for the other 3 columns. And the only thing that changes from the formula that you've just done in these 3 columns is when you come to do your row where you get your results, rather than looking at the cost, the next one you would be using the diet, this column, rather than the cost. Okay, so that would be the column you would highlight and then press the F4 key to do that, and then you do the age and then the visitors attracted per month. So I'm going to stop this video and you're then going to complete that task, and then we'll continue with the next part. Okay, once I've completed that, you will notice that I've got the incorrect formatting on the age and the visitors attracted per month. So we need to change that. So you should know how to do that now. I'm just going to highlight those 2 columns. I'm going to right click. I'm going to format cells. And I want it as a number, not currency, to no decimal places. Okay, so that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Okay. So this next section is asking me to fill in, let me zoom out so you can see a little bit clearer, is asking me to fill in the budget used, the budget remaining, and the visitors per month. Don't forget to look at here because it will tell you what it wants you to use. Use AutoSum to add up the cost of all the dinosaurs. Okay, so what we're going to do is to use AutoSum. So I'm going to click in this cell, and I'm going to come across to Home on the menu bar, and you can see at the end here is the AutoSum button. So we can either use the button or you can just type in equals sum. It's up to you, it does the same thing. So I'm going to use the AutoSum button in this case. Okay, and it's asking me what numbers do I want to add together. Well, it tells me in here that it's the cost of all my dinosaurs. So I'm just going to highlight my dinosaurs like that, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, this one then says take away the budget used from the budget. Okay, so what I'm taking away, I'm taking this value, the budget used, away from 100 million, sorry, which is the budget up here. So for there, I'm just going to go equals my budget. So I'm just using the mouse to click, minus the budget used. Okay, and then I'm going to press enter. So that leaves me my budget. And then the final thing it asks me to do is to use AutoSum to add up the total number of visitors per month. Well, I can leave you do that because you've just done that for the budget used. So that is all I'm going to show you in this video. But don't forget, you need to look at the beast activities to work at the best level you can. So just a couple of points I want to show you about the beast level. It says about adding the information from the sheet using lookup formulas. That's what this is. We've done that. Add the input message that reads, please choose a dinosaur from the drop down list on the drop down menus. Okay, so to add messages, okay, if you highlight these columns, because all of these columns now, all of these cells have got the drop down list, we just go onto data, we go back onto validation, and here we can add an input message on the top. Okay, so I can type in an input message here. Okay, so that's how you can put the input message in. What else have we got here? It says use AutoSum when required. Conditional formatting of the budget, I'll show you that in a separate video. And then the drop down list, I showed you how to do that at the beginning. And then you're going to convert this to a drop down list. Okay. So I will, the next video I will do will be a video on conditional formatting, so you can sort out the conditional formatting for point 4.